Right. Look, I've got a lot of stuff on Bankstown. There's still people out there that think there's some serious dodgy business going on there. The amount of earth that's been moved, the effect of a possible flood. They've already had a flood there, but not a 1 in a 100 year event, which is supposed to be the point where houses will get seriously flooded because of the build-up of the floodplain, and a range of other issues. Some of the tenants think they've been indicted with their leases because there was an agreement before with the Commonwealth before it was sold off. I think the best way, Mr Murdoch, to deal with this is this committee needs a private briefing along with Senator Fawcett, because I'm getting sick of hearing from one side and then getting bureaucratic pushback from the other. We need to sort out what is going on out there. Could I just ask a question? Does Bankstown Airport still do pilot training? Can you start with no hours, and is it 30 hours to get a restricted licence still? How many hours do you get a restricted licence?
I'm not sure of the exact numbers, Senator. And
I don't want to take up. This will take 3 or 4 hours to sort this shit out.
I'd have to confirm in regards to whether it's a flying training school at Bankstown still.
Senator, the hours requirements for the private pilot are the same as they were in the previous regulations, which is 40 hours.
It was 30 when I got mine. So what's the minimum for unrestricted?
Unrestricted, 40 hours, Senator.
No, I'm talking about restricted.
Oh, restricted? So the new recreational pilot licence, which is the...
No, I'm talking about before you're qualified to go solo and do your cross-country.
Yes.
How many hours?
That's... I'll double-check, Senator, but it's in the order of 20 hours.
We'll confirm the number for you, Senator.
All right, so now can you do that at Bankstown Airport?
Yes, Senator.
You can?
Yes.
All right. Now I'll put this proposition here. The crosswind runway's shut, right, for any effective landings. And if the Bob L thing gets away and all that gets done, it's the end of the crosswind runway. So I take off and I've got 22 hours, right? And a storm comes through and it's well beyond the limit of, the 150 to land. And you say, well, you can go to Wollongong, Wedderburn, the Oaks, Warner Vale, or Sydney, highly unlikely. How can I, as the trainee pilot, doing solo, fly to Wollongong if I haven't got a cross-country licence? What do I just prang it into the bloody airport at Bankstown? Good question. Give me the answer.
Senator, with the committee secretary, we'll set up a time for a meeting on Bankstown.
But there must be an expert here now that can tell me how a person with a restricted licence that fronts a southwest, a bloody wind event, can't land at Bankstown, can do a cross-country legally, and wouldn't know how to get there anyhow. I'm a trainer, I've just done my first 2 or 3 solo circuits. It's bullshit. You know that. And so, this push on by the developers to squash everything out, and I'm reliably informed that this is still going to be too close to the runway. I'm reliably informed there's a lot of earth came from off the Bankstown airport zone, which allegedly it did, to make the fill by the cubic metres. So what do I do, all right? What do I do if I'm the trainee pilot and I'm doing my solo? I prang it.
Senator, the issue of dealing with changed circumstances like that is not a new matter. And
I will give you an idea because you can fill up this committee with as much bureaucratic BS as you like, but because people have dirt under their fingernails and experience, that is a question you blokes can't answer, but you've got some time to come up with a proposition because we will have a big private briefing. Now, I just want to go to Archerfield. Mr Murdoch, could you tell me, with regard to airport leases, does the department use a checklist before it ticks it off?
In terms of the annual lease review, Senator?
Well, the specific question is, what checklist does the department use to ensure secondary airport master plans are in compliance with all clauses of their Air Commonwealth lease prior to the department making any recommendations. And I notice in here, Albo signed one off a master plan, I think for Archerfield. So, do you have a checklist?
Yes, we do, Senator.
Could you table the checklist?
Yes, it's set out in the legislation, and we can certainly provide you with that and the advice on the criteria against which we assess master plans.
Well, I'll just say you know where the 2 or 3 hours is going to go. Why then wasn't that checklist used to check Archerfield Airport's 2011 draft master plan for compliance prior to ministerial recommendation?
To the best of my knowledge, we met all of the statutory requirements. Senator, I'll just ask Mr.
There was
Doherty.
no checklist evident.
Before we go into the detailed conversation, this is CASA. We need to move this to the airport aviation.
Yeah, I know. We'll just John, do you want to make it?
Senator John Doherty, Executive Director, Aviation and Airports. I can confirm that the Archerfield Master Plan was measured against the requirements of the Act back in 2011.
Well, I want the written evidence of all that.
Understand.
Obviously, there's a serious blue going on between a master plan and a proposed master plan for Archerfield. And obviously, I mean, everyone knows it. There's a lot of pressure on for the developers to get in and make use of the land, other than for aviation. You know, out here is a good example because it's exempt from ACT law. The Snowden family's done quite nicely, and fair enough. Good on them. They saw it coming. So part of the briefing will be that. The other thing, the final thing, just quickly, I don't want to take up too much time, is it's alleged to me, and you might be able to prove differently, that when the deal was done on Bankstown Airport, no one can find the money for the stamp duty. The stamp duty didn't change hands.
Senator Andrew Wilson, Deputy Secretary. All indications from the process are that the lease was stamped.
It was stamped, but the money didn't change hands.
It would be a highly unusual situation.
It would be a matter for
Senator,
corrupt inquiry.
It would be a highly unusual situation for New South Wales to stamp a lease without exchange of...
Yeah, all right. So can you provide to this committee when the money changed hands?
We will, Senator.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you at a briefing at a later date.
Certainly, Chair.